The 2023 Texas Longhorns had a season to remember, going 12-2 and reaching the college football playoff for the first time in the program's history. After sending a record for the program, 11 players off to the NFL Combine, there are many people around the country expecting the Longhorns to have a major fall off as they enter their first season in the SEC. And honestly, who could blame them? Graduating 11 players, 3 of which were your starting wide receivers for the previous season, 1 of which was your starting running back for a majority of the season before getting injured in Jonathan Brooks. It is reasonable to expect that there is going to be some type of drop off in production when you have players of that caliber exiting your program. But what people are failing to realize is that this is not the Texas Longhorns program of old. This is not the Texas Longhorns program where we're sending 2 to 3 players off to the NFL, and that's probably the most talent that you're going to have on the team for a couple of years, right? This is a program now that is like the Bamas of old, like the Georgias of now, Ohio States and Michigans. This team is reloaded and ready to get back into the season and go take over the SEC in their inaugural season. Now, as we know, playing in the SEC, the ball game is going to be completely different than it was playing in the Big 12, where you're facing air raid, high-tempo offenses that don't play very good defense. They're more of a contain your offense and try and keep everything in front of you, bend, don't break type of defensive play style. Texas is going to be playing down dirty, in the trenches, run-heavy scheme conference where running the football successfully is going to be imperative to having success on the field. Fortunately for us as Longhorns fans, there are 2 players on this Texas roster who are set to make a profound impact on the 2024 season and showed glimpses of just how good they could be in the 2023 season. We're talking about Cedric Baxter and Jaden Blue. Yes, 2 of the most dynamic running backs that Texas has actually had come through the program in a very long time. And when you consider who they've had on the 40 acres in Bijan Robinson, Roschon Johnson, and Jonathan Brooks, those are high standards to set for a couple of young running backs. But they have shown time and time again that when their numbers are called, they can deliver. And today on the MoBetta Sports Show, we're going to be breaking down just what to be expecting from these 2 young running backs and how their skills and abilities can drastically improve this offense from a year ago. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, in order for us to determine whether CJ Baxter and Jaden Blue are good running backs, we have to determine not only what makes a good running back, but what separates a good running back from great running backs, and what qualities do these running backs have that make them great as opposed to just average. Now, when it comes to me, there are a few qualities that I look for in determining whether a player can be great or whether he is going to just be decent, right? And those qualities are as follows. Does your running back have speed? As we know, speed kills, always, no matter the position you're playing. Is he physical? Can he pass block? Does he have good vision? Does he protect the football? Does he have good balance and agility? And last but certainly not least, is he coachable? We're going to be breaking down these qualities and determining whether or not CJ Baxter and Jaden Blue each possess these traits that I find to be most important and most imperative. First, I want to start with breaking down CJ Baxter. CJ is in all likelihood going to be the starting running back when it comes time for the 2024 season to open up. He was the starting running back last year before his injury. I fully expect that he will be starting again this season. So when we're looking at CJ Baxter, the first thing we have to determine in our list of what makes a good running back is, does he have speed? Well, I don't think that there's any question that CJ Baxter is a burner. When he gets into the open field, nobody is going to catch him. His speed was put on display in several games, such as the Kansas State game on the 4th down pitch that he took for a touchdown, in the playoff game against Washington when he takes the 2nd and 18 for 20 yards and picks up a first down, in games against Oklahoma and Alabama. There are several games where CJ Baxter showed that not only is he fast, he is very fast, and he can break away to the point nobody is going to catch him, right? And when you have a running back who's 6 foot, over 200 pounds, and has that type of speed, That is something that defenses should be extremely worried about. When you combine that with our second quality on the list of whether or not a running back has physicality, well, CJ Baxter certainly checks that box off the list as well. Look at what he did in one of his very first games on a huge national stage against one of the best teams in the entire country in playing Alabama. From the jump, as soon as CJ Baxter got the ball in his hands, he made his presence known. He let Alabama and the whole stadium and everybody watching know that this freshman running back came to play some goddamn football. He was lowering his shoulder, driving piles. CJ Baxter put his nose down between the tackles and was pushing piles for first downs. Not only does that go to show off his physicality, and oftentimes he showed off his speed, but his maturity as well. To be that young on that stage and make those game-defining plays, it spoke volumes. As if him obtaining the starting running back spot to begin the year wasn't loud enough, his play in the Alabama game and pretty much in every game thereafter solidified the fact that that kid came to play football and he has got the build and the physicality to play the position the way you want it to be played. The third quality that you have to look at when defining great versus average running backs: can they protect the football? Now this is where we get into a little bit of murky waters, right? CJ is young, and while he is explosive and he is very dynamic and he's very fast and physical, there are things about the game that he still has to learn as a young running back. Being able to not only run through tackles, but run through tackles and protect the ball and not get it punched out in piles. Not get it punched out when you're swinging around, when people are hitting you. Protecting the ball is one of the most important things in the game, period. And for the most part, he did a very good job of protecting the football over the duration of the season. Now, unfortunately, on the big stage in the playoff game, each of the running backs, Jaden Blue and CJ Baxter, had their share of troubles protecting the football. But again, he's a young running back. Some of these things will come with experience. He's never had to worry about running through tackles and every single player is punching at the ball trying to get it out of his hands. In college, he's running through these players, stiff-arming them, spinning away, breaking into open field, and he's gone. Nobody's trying to catch him. They're scared of him. In college football, that is not the case. They are coming after the ball. They want to get the ball back, and they're going to do everything they can to get the ball out of your hands. And while he had his trouble down the line, I wouldn't even say he had his trouble. While he had his miscues down the line, for the vast majority of the season, CJ Baxter showed that he is very capable of protecting the football. And that is an extremely important quality when you are going to be touching the ball 25 to 30 times a game. Fourth on the list, do you have the vision that it takes to play the game? In a cookie cutter world, in a perfect world, every time you hand the ball, a lane is going to open up right where you're supposed to go. And you can hit that hole and you can break a play for a huge gain and you can do your thing and you can celebrate and all that kind of stuff. And there are going to be times where that happens in the game. But when you're starting to play really stiff competition, when you're playing top of the line athletes, potential NFL players, those are not always going to be available. And in fact, more often than not, you are going to have to improvise as a running back in order to make plays happen. CJ did a great job of that many times throughout the season. CJ Baxter showed all season long that he has excellent vision, especially for a young running back. Again, even developing your vision is something that takes a lot of time and practice and experience in big time college football. So for him to have already been able to do that to a very large degree and do it very well is massive when it comes to development for his future. Next on the list of what makes a great running back, we have balance. Can your running back absorb hits, break tackles, keep his footing, and make big plays happen? This was CJ Baxter's bread and butter every time he got the ball. Every time he got the ball, he's making somebody miss. He's plowing through somebody. He's breaking tackles. He's running with violence. He's running with force. And he's not trying to go down. You look at running backs in the past, Jonathan Brooks was excellent at keeping his balance. One of the things that separates him from the rest of the running backs in all of college football was the fact that he could never be taken down on first contact. Almost never did you see Jonathan Brooks go down on first contact. Almost never did you see Bijan Robinson go down on first, second, or third contact. Again, different animal, different breed of player. But those are the type of players you think about and you look at when you're looking at great contact balance and ability to extend plays and continue to make big plays happen. CJ Baxter has that ability. He's shown it time and time again. He showed it in the Alabama game. He showed it in the Washington game. He showed it in the Oklahoma State game. He showed it against, you go down the list. There were time and time and time again where he shows excellent balance and ability to extend plays and keep plays going and make big plays after first contact. So I think it is safe to say that he checks balance off the list. Next up, we have to look at, is your running back able to do more than just run the football, right? Can he protect your quarterback when the ball is not in his hands? And yes, I mean pass blocking. Now, this is something that I think we'll have to see a little bit more of this upcoming season, especially out of Jaden Blue. I don't think really Jaden Blue had any chance to show pass blocking ability. But for CJ Baxter, having the ability to pass block is something that is 100% going to come with experience. And I don't really expect him to be a great pass blocker, especially coming right out of high school as a freshman. The game experience and understanding playbooks and where blitzes are coming from, being able to pick that up like a quarterback, it's something that you're just not going to be able to do as a freshman. And I don't think you should really expect freshman running backs to have great pass blocking ability. Now, that's not to say he can't develop that. And it's not even to say that he's not a good pass blocker already. I'm sure he's decent. I just don't think that we really got a chance to see him step up and execute some really good pass blocking techniques as the season progressed. But as a starting running back, that is something 100% he is going to have to not only develop, but be able to develop and do extremely well and at a very high level, especially in a pro-style offense like Steve Sarkisian runs. Pass blocking is vital. So we'll go ahead and we'll put this one as a yet to be seen. I don't think we have the evidence to say whether or not he is good or is not good. Next up on the list, and something that absolutely separates great running backs from decent to good running backs, is, are you able to catch the ball out of the backfield? You cannot, in this day and age, be a running back that lines up and every time you line up, you're either getting the ball from the backfield or you're blocking. You have got to be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. CJ Baxter did this with absolute pristine ability all season long. We went to CJ Baxter on so many screenplays, even when I knew the play that was coming, when I knew that a screen was coming. Texas was still able to execute because CJ Baxter with the ball in his hands after the catch is so dynamic and so good. And that's where the vision and the breaking tackle ability and the balance all comes into play, right? The physicality. CJ Baxter has that. There is no question as to whether or not he is able to catch the ball and make plays out of the backfield. He did it time and time again. As a matter of fact, I think that's one of the things that makes him so special, is the fact, it's not simply that he can catch the ball and turn upfield, but it's how quickly he can turn up and get upfield. He picks up huge chunk yards every time you get him the ball in space. And that is an absolute imperative quality for the type of offense that Steve Sarkisian likes to employ. So I think it's safe to say that CJ Baxter, as a pass-catching receiver out of the backfield, not only is he good at it, he is damn good at it and going to only get better. The more that he learns the playbook, the more that he learns the speed of college football, the more that he has developed a relationship with his linemen and his blockers, that's something that can really be game-changing, completely game-changing. His ability to catch the football out of the backfield. So I think it's safe to say he goes ahead and checks that one off the list. And finally, last but certainly not least, you saved the best for last, as a matter of fact. The most important trait that any running back, receiver, quarterback, any player on the field can have, is he coachable? Is he a coachable player? And I don't mean can you yell at him and tell him to do this, that, and the other. Can you tell him, hey, you need to take care of the football, and he sits there and responds and says yes sir and no sir and all that? No. When you coach these players, when you tell them things, how do they receive it? Are they looking off? Are they pouting? Are they upset? Are they in a different mind state than they need to be in? Understanding that miscues happen, but that it only becomes a problem when they happen time and time again. Something that I think that we never saw from CJ Baxter was him make the same mistake over and over again. He didn't fumble the ball very often. I think he only had maybe 2 fumbles on the entire season, as a matter of fact. And not only that, but when things didn't go well, he didn't pout and lose himself. He doesn't go out there and make bigger mistakes. He doesn't go out there and scream and get crazy like we seen Ollie Gordon do. You know, his fuck Texas, getting crazy, getting wild, getting stupid for no reason, and then takes your head out of the game. And when you're on the field, you're just trying to start fights and being ridiculous, right? That is the definition of an uncoachable player who only cares about himself. Ollie Gordon is the complete opposite running back that you want on your team. He's got the physicality and the ability and all that kind of stuff, but it's the mental makeup and the intangibles, the coachability, right? Those are the things that are the most important. And that is something that I think CJ Baxter has, like he's already a senior in college. His coachability is something that really stood out to me, and in all honesty, is probably one of the biggest reasons why he was the starting running back to begin the season. We heard it from Sark. Jonathan Brooks never really got his chance to be the starter because he was not a practice guy, right? He didn't practice as hard as he played. CJ Baxter practiced as hard as he played. That's a part of being coachable. Can you practice hard and play hard? Because what you do in practice translates to your production on the field. I think it's safe to say also, CJ Baxter checks off being a coachable player. And so when we're looking at whether a player is a quality player or not, CJ Baxter checks nearly everything off the list. Outside of pass blocking, because we haven't really been able to see him pass block, everything else is a go. And that is why CJ Baxter is poised to be one of, if not the best running back in college football. He's very young, and there are a lot of things that he has to learn. When it comes to absolute bona fide great running back qualities, CJ Baxter checks off the list for tangibles and intangibles. And that is one of the reasons why I'm so excited to see him take the field next season. Let's go ahead and shift our focus to the number 2 running back, very slept on running back, Jaden Blue. Now, Jaden Blue, the thing I love about him is that he's not the biggest running back. 5'9", 5'10", maybe 190, 195 pounds. He's not your physically imposing, scary running back lining up in the backfield like someone like CJ Baxter is, right? When you first look at Jaden Blue, he looks like a smaller running back that is just he's pretty fast and he's got some playmaking ability. But you're not really sure what you're going to get with him. At least that's what I saw when he first stepped onto the 40 acres. And one of the reasons why he was kind of overlooked after all the other running backs ahead of him. One of the reasons why CJ Baxter probably took a leap ahead of him. But one thing that cannot be denied is all of the qualities that we just listed for CJ Baxter, the same ring true for the most part when you're looking at Jaden Blue. Speed, 100%. Jaden Blue is one of the fastest, if not the fastest player on the football team. He was when Xavier Worthy was there. He was when Keelan Robinson was there. And he certainly is going to be now that they're gone, right? And we saw it on the field. Look at the game against Rice, where he takes a little sweep, takes a little handoff to the outside, and just when it looks like he's going to get stopped for about 6-7 yards, turns on the burners, hits the sideline, leaves the safety in the dust, says, peace out, see you later, I'm going to go score a touchdown. That was a 38-yard scamper. And then you get him the ball after Jonathan Brooks goes down and CJ Baxter is hurt. What does he do? No big deal. Gets the ball, takes it up the middle, makes a little man miss, shakes him, up the sideline, 70 yards with ease. With absolute ease. It looked like he was coasting. It looked like he was striding while everybody's trying to catch up behind him. It didn't even look like he's hitting full speed, and he is jetting off on motherfuckers, right? One thing you cannot question about Jaden Blue is he fast. Hell yeah, he is fast. Something you wouldn't expect. Not only is he fast, but he showed he's willing to put his nose between the tackles, get in the trenches, and move the line. That kid will put his pads down and he will drive you backwards. Look what he did when he got his chance to score against Washington in the playoff game. Look what he did when he gets into the game against Oklahoma State. When he gets into the game against Tech. When he gets into the game, anybody that he played. There were several times where he had the ball in his hands and there was no room for him to run, and so he just drops his pads and gets upfield. Make big plays, move the sticks. Get north and south. That's what you love to see out of running backs. Not only speed, but combine it with physicality, right? Combine it with physicality. Now again, when it comes to protecting the football, another quality that great running backs must have, Jaden Blue did not turn the football over, save for his one fumble against Washington, which came at the worst time, really. Save for his one fumble against Washington, Jaden Blue didn't give the ball up. He protected the ball. Now, he only had something like 65 carries throughout the whole season. So there's not very much opportunity for him to give the ball up. However, 65 touches and one fumble is still an impressive number, right? That's something that you should be proud of. You should be happy about, especially when you're not getting the ball every single game, every down, all the time, right? What he did do was when the ball was in his hands, made explosive plays because he's fast and he's physical and he's got great vision. Right? He's got great vision. Another quality that you have to be a great running back. The vision that Jaden Blue displayed, I mean, listen, you saw it in the spring game. You saw it throughout the season whenever he got the ball in his hands. He can make you miss. He can shimmy and shake in the hole. And he can also cut back. He can find lanes. That's one of the good things about being a smaller running back. They can't see you on the defensive side of the ball, so you can duck behind those 6'5", 6'4" linemen, 300 pounds. You can get behind them and just wait for something to open up. And he did that several times, which led to huge explosive plays. So vision is something that Jaden Blue absolutely displayed on several occasions, along with having great balance, being able to make people miss, which he did several times. Making people miss, extending plays, getting to the outside, see ya, touchdowns. He did that several times as well. Being able to get yards after contact is absolutely imperative for being a great running back. Jaden Blue has put that on display. Now, similar to CJ Baxter, we never really got to see Jaden Blue step in and pass block. He's not asked to pass block. Again, as a smaller running back, he's probably not going to be asked to pass block very often. So we don't really have anything to go off of to say whether or not he is or is not a good pass blocker, right? So we'll go ahead and kind of scratch that one out for now. To be seen. I would expect that he will be able to do his job. I wouldn't expect that he's going to be a phenomenal pass blocker, as he is just smaller. He's just a smaller back, and it is what it is, right? But I don't think that's really going to be as important as the next quality, which is, can you catch the ball out of the backfield? Jaden Blue was making one-handed catches in the championship game. When you have players like Bijan and Jonathan Brooks and Roshan and CJ Baxter in the running back room with you, there's no doubt that Jaden Blue is picking up lessons and taking notes on how to be a coachable player. And if Tashard Choice didn't believe that Jaden Blue was coachable, he wouldn't be on the field. In order for you to see the field, a coach has to have trust in you. A coach has to believe that when he puts you on the field, he is putting the best player at the position on the field. And that comes from his interaction with you on the sideline, in practice, in meeting rooms, and during games. So it's safe to say that Jaden Blue has coachable qualities, or else he wouldn't see the field. That coachability is what's going to lead to his significantly increased playing time next season. I fully believe that. So again, when we're looking at what makes a quality running back, speed. That's a check for CJ Baxter. check for Jaden Blue. Physicality, check for them both. Protecting the football, check minus, right? It's about a B plus. You got to be able to protect the football in the most important critical situations. And unfortunately, both of them had a fumble in the biggest stage of football during the college football playoff against Washington. It happens. It's something these players both need to learn from, but something that experience and repetition will get you much better at. So protecting the football for now, I would leave them as a B plus. The other two qualities, A plus for sure. Vision for both of them, A plus. They've made great plays. They've made great cutbacks. They've taken small gains and turned them into huge gains. Touchdowns, 60, 70-yard gains, right? Balance. We've seen them break tackles. We've seen them charge themselves into the end zone breaking tackles. We've seen both of them extend plays after being hit and making huge plays after contact. Both of them. I give them A in contact balance. Pass blocking. Something we need to see more of. And to be honest, I don't think that it's really fair to grade either of them on this. So I'm just going to go ahead and nix out pass blocking for the both of them. Something that we're going to have to see further. Catching out of the backfield. We saw time and time again their ability to catch out of the backfield. That goes without question. These two are much different types of running backs than we're accustomed to seeing in terms of the ability to run between tackles and catch out of the backfield. Now, we haven't seen a running back who's as good as catching out of the backfield as Bijan Robinson was. Damn near was a wide receiver when you lined him up out there. But they can do their damage in their own right, and they have done that. And, of course, coachability. Now, I think it's safe to say, same thing like I said with Jaden Blue, same thing is true with CJ Baxter. If Tashard Choice did not trust that these players were going to be able to do what he said, to take the advice and the tips that he's giving them and implement those onto the field, he wouldn't put them out there. So their coachability, in my opinion, when you have a coach like Tashard Choice who's as well respected and the proven track record of developing fantastic running backs, I don't think there's a question about whether the two are coachable or not. I would say 100% yes, they are coachable players. So all in all, we're questionable on two of the 8 qualities that makes for great running backs. That makes for stellar running backs. So I will say at this point, we don't know if they're stellar, but we know they have the potential to be stellar running backs. And we know that the things that we have seen from them in game, in season, has been nothing short of spectacular. And I would expect nothing less but for them to pick up and improve on where they left off last season. I'm going to give both of these running backs an A grade, potential to increase to S tier as the season progresses. And yeah, I think that's something that we're going to see. One thing that there's no doubt about in my mind is that we have 2 potential studs at running back. And Texas has continued to churn out great running backs year after year for the past several seasons. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. But all right, man, that's going to do it for me. If you guys enjoyed the video, please do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and turn those notification bells on so you never miss anything that we have coming for you. Because remember, no matter where you look, there's no better place than MoBetta Sports for your latest football takes. I'm Antonio, aka Mr. MoBetta, and I am out. Peace and hook 'em.